Good evening, Team Rosenberg Traffic. Wanted to take this time to put together a small presentation on our quarter one results for 2024 for a year-to-date status so we can share with you department by department to keep you aware of what's going on within the department and abreast of all the hard work that each and every one of you does each and every day. So let me go ahead and get this kicked off. Starting off with safety, if we're looking at things and tactics that we're using to help keep our fleet and our people safe every day of the week, safety at the gate has been paramount. The partnership between our department, each transportation center, and the region, not just our region, but from region to region, is giving us a national perspective of the one best way to improve our safety results, but first and foremost, ensure that each of you are safe in the work that you're doing throughout your regularly awarded workday. So safety at the gate has been huge for us. We kicked that off this year a couple periods ago, and it's going to continue every period through the rest of the year. Um, each one of our safety at the gates is going to include one CQM maneuver based on what the safety team has outlined for each period. It will change. We've already completed our blind side backing maneuver, our side door delivery maneuver, and in May, our safety at the gate will include our side backing. Adding serpentine maneuvers to the safety at the gate list as we progress through the year. Keeping your skills sharp is important. I know a lot of you have been around for a very long time, so I would ask that each one of you with high seniority are mentoring our younger group that either just started with the organization or has only been with the team a couple of years. At the end of the day, we've got to keep safety first and foremost top of mind. Overspeed for Q1, periods 1, 2, and 3, you can see some substantial improvement. In period one, we had 27 drivers that required addressing performance improvement request for overspeed. That narrowed down to 18 drivers in period two. And for period three, the last period of the quarter, we were able to narrow that down to 6 drivers. How were we able to do that? Each and every one of you knows the focus that we are placing on coaching and accountability. Having those discussions, keeping those things top of mind has made a substantial improvement to not just excessive speed, overspeed, hours of service, letting you know the score on an individual basis many times has really helped to improve our results from a scorecard perspective. But it isn't about the scorecard. That is not what I want to focus on. It's about following DOT laws and first and foremost, keeping you safe. We want you to return home in the same conditions in which you arrived. It's all about your family and your own personal safety. If you keep that top of mind, I am confident that we'll continue to see these types of result improvement as we continue into quarter two and close out the year in quarter three and four. Excessive speed for quarter one, you can see we have some opportunities. Period one, we had 23 drivers. Period two, we had 16 drivers. Period three, we had 16 drivers. So not as much improvement on excessive speed. Both of these buckets are zero tolerance. We just want you to follow the law. If every one of those assets is governed or should be governed, if you are noticing something, an anomaly in our technology, that it's not recording accurately as you're having these conversations with your team soups or the safety team, it is important that you're relaying your concerns to them for follow-up. There have been plenty of issues that we have been engaging our region partners on our One Best Way training team to find out, hey, what is the best practice that other traffic centers are doing? What can we implement? What hiccups or watchouts from technology have we seen that we can work or at least communicate that we are working towards correction for the team? Again, I am confident that keeping everyone's focus on these buckets from a safety perspective and top of mind and consistently letting you know the score and where we stand, and not just as a team, but individually, will help generate the awareness needed to continue on a positive trend. Accidents and injuries year to date, we are seeing a substantial improvement over last year's same time frame. In quarter one, we had 5 preventable accidents and 9 non-preventable accidents. If you follow the keys and the training that are provided to you from the organization, again, being attentive in the field and reporting concerns that are keeping you from um, performing your duties as you are trained to do, to us for us to follow up on, whether it be with our sales partners, whether it be with our warehouse partners, whether it be with our customers themselves. We've tackled every one of those buckets when the case arrives. And many of you do it personally, one on one with the relationships that you've built with both customers and sales partners. Really, at the end of the day, we all try to work together. 9 times out of 10, we're going to get support when we ask for support from all of those buckets. Really, they don't know what they don't know. They are not the driving experts. They are not the ones with CDL licenses. They are not aware of all the obstacles that each one of you has to navigate through on a daily basis. So generating that awareness with them will help us get the support we need to allow you to be successful in everything that you're doing every year. Many of you, I'm sure, are aware that we are really highly engaged from a DOT hours of service perspective. The disciplinary focus as an organization, not just a traffic center, but as an organization, has changed. There is too much of a liability and too much of a risk to let any little infraction not be followed up and investigated. Our goal is not to issue disciplinary action to each one of you with every little mistake you make. It needs to start with a conversation so that we can understand whether or not we are definitely setting you up for success with each and every trip. Do we need to make trip run adjustments? Do we need to ask for support from a loading perspective? And we'll touch a little bit more on that as we get through the presentation. But at the end of the year, we can't let any stone be unturned, and it all starts with a conversation. Now, if it is determined that your own actions led to an infraction of any sort of DOT violation, we're going to hold you accountable. That's the way it has to be. There's a lot of liability as an organization that we need to be conscious of. Overspeed and hours of service violations are grouped progressively under a performance bucket. The process that we have followed from an accident perspective, 3 preventable accidents in a rolling 18-month period, it remains the same. It's not going to change. That has um, huge drawbacks should you be involved in a preventable accident in that short a time frame. That's something we're going to look at and follow it with discipline up to and including termination there. Excessive speed is documented coaching today. That's what we have done for years. That's what we know we're doing. The focus for the organization is so huge on these buckets that might be changed and turned into progressive discipline. Those discussions are happening at the headquarters level, and as early as May 1st, that may change from a simple documented coaching to progressive discipline. EVCRs is another big bucket that we are looking at. Any type of manipulation of the system, removing any evidence that you drove a vehicle for whatever reason, trying to um, uh, 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 hide the fact that refueling wasn't done or an issue wasn't reported. Things of that nature will not be tolerated and will also go under the disciplinary progressive step process. I can't stress enough the importance and the focus that we are placing as a transportation team for Frito-Lay on on safety. We've had many unfortunate incidents over the past year within the national transportation team. We've reached that point where it's a zero tolerance from a process perspective, right? The audits, for example, our DOT audits, in the past, we were given a certain amount of time, at least a couple of weeks, to let us know, hey, an audit will be coming, allowing us time to prep for that audit, so that we make sure we've got all our I's dotted and our T's crossed. The new process for 2024 is a 48-hour notice. We'll have third party folks just give us a call on a Monday, say, hey, we'll be there on Wednesday. See you then. So it's a matter of keeping our I's dotted and our T's crossed every day of the week, without question. So hopefully that explains a lot of the focus that we have towards safety and what the team has been doing to address those safety infractions that we see through documented coaching. I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. At the end of the day, safety and your return home is what is the primary focus of this. We are more than open to offering additional training, to having those intelligent conversations so that we can address any technology issues that might be out there, things of that nature. Our goal is not just simply to write everybody up. At the end of the day, we've got to be leaders and we've got to do the investigation to make sure that we're being fair and equitable and that the results of those investigations are really driven by each and every one of your own actions. All right. So with that, you can see it's evident that the consistent message, the one-on-one conversations, whether it be with the team soup or the safety team, knowing the score, where you stand as the weeks and the periods progress through the quarter, you can see the benefits of all that is in towards our results. A huge drop in hours of service infractions thanks to the awareness generated for each and every one of you. I see this going in a positive direction with fewer and fewer hours of service violations as we continue along the same track. DOT laws aren't going anywhere. At the end of the day, we have got to be buttoned up as a traffic center. So the rest of the year will continue with the huge focus on coaching, individual discussions, accountability. The best thing to do is to play it safe, right? That's what you want to do. I value each one of you as employees, as individuals. We want you to succeed. We want you to be successful and have years of success in your employment, right? So I appreciate all the efforts that the safety team has done to help each and every one of you and educate and further provide direction on the best thing to do as we progress through these issues and work to improve. So great work there across the board. Thank you so much for all the efforts that you've placed from a safety perspective. I'll go ahead and kick it off to service, which in Q1 is another success. If you look at each one of the green bars there, that's positive, right? We had 1 week in which we weren't able to meet our on-time delivery goal for each one of the trips that we're servicing, and that's when it got a little cold. We had to play things safe, and we weren't going into Dallas, right? Wherever the winter storm impacted. And at the end of the day, we did a phenomenal job of keeping everybody safe. And we're getting better and better at that as every year goes by. The year before last, we had 9 hurricanes. Hurricane season is right around the corner. I'll tell you what, when my peer transportation managers and those traffic centers have something that work against, they turn to us and say, "Hey, how did y'all navigate through the delays, and how did you navigate through tracking that you didn't lose any of the trips that were planned 2 days ago and couldn't go out because of the storm? Y'all have set the standard of what works for these types of scenarios. Knock on wood, we had a really good first quarter. Again, I mentioned it, and won't mention it again, but hurricane season is right around the corner. So y'all are hats off to the work that y'all did. Um, uh, Warehouse load readiness. I'll share some more support requests with you, but you can see their scores there. Our GES partners, if you've been around long enough, y'all know that from either 1 day or 2 day, you might have like phenomenal days, and you're starting when your block bid says you're going to start, and you're ending and getting home when it's supposed to end, or at least the way it was written on the block bid. And then the next day you have another great day, and just when you get your hopes up and you get to Thursday or Friday, lo and behold, GES has a 10-hour delay and kind of ruining the rest of your week, right? When knock on wood, but we have not had to work against something like that for a few reasons. So one of them are the go-to-market changes that we've seen with the introduction of the new DCs. That's obviously worked. And then a transition of sales zone final mile to places like the Texan and Corpus has really helped us sustain our on-time delivery percentage, and at the end of the day, continue to offer only quality customer service to those that we're delivering to. So a huge success story there. And those of you that have been around when GES started in 2012, we were all kind of looking at each other. I was the field service rep at that time, and we were wondering what is going on. I'm not understanding why some of these decisions are being made. Thankfully, although it might take a little longer than we'd like, our organization does have and has proven to be able to step back, slow down, reevaluate. Okay, might have we gone wrong, and let's fix it. And that's what we saw primarily in 2023, and that we will see as we continue to move forward. Hey, let's unwind anything that didn't make sense, and let's revisit it and do it all over again for it to make sense for not just our customer base and a service perspective, but for our employees. Better work-life balance is kind of what it leads towards. Our core warehouse team has a little bit of work to go to be up against. Now, a lot of this is driven primarily for at least two reasons that I can think of, and we'll hit on it. Or I think one of Kaylin put together a slide that will hit on it. But we've got a whole new set of leadership of folks for our core team. Took some time to get there, but with a whole new leadership team, you're going to see a whole new set of ideas that are coming across to help improve that score. Bottom line, I think the heaviest root cause of what you're seeing on that red line where it says core straight across the board is primarily driven by an increased need for those that Rosenberg services to improve sales results to the folks that we're servicing. Now, how does that all tie into that? Well, while we have an ordering standard or windows that you need to follow or that we ask our distribution centers across the state to follow, oftentimes our sales partners might not be have visibility to pricing that might be hitting our customers, which will increase the demand, or even if it's just events in a particular increase in a particular area will increase the demand. When that happens, they're doing what will off cycle orders, and those off-cycle orders, and there's a lot of them. You can ask Alasia, Kirsten, Caitlin, any one of the team members. Every day we're being asked to do incremental loads that are outside of the planned windows of ordering in order to meet the fill rate and the demand in whatever area it is that we're being asked to go to. The plus side out of that is more work for our team. And the Andrew put together a slide here that I'll share shortly. But there's a lot of success from a work perspective. I know you may not feel like there are, but it's evident, it's out there. Is it going to be perfect every day of the week? Unfortunately not. But what is? If you show me something that we've planned and it works every day of the week, hats off. But that's a tall task to tackle when we're optimizing and accepting volume on the daily basis. So support needs, loading conditions. Now, those of you that are delivering any kind of order out there, whether it be GES, but primarily core as of late, there's a group of y'all that's doing a phenomenal job of reporting those concerns that you're seeing with photos, videos, and descriptions. Um, Kaylin takes those pictures and outlines to those that aren't in transportation, those who load the trips for us, and puts those in an email thread and reports the concerns. We're finally seeing the fruit of that labor through discussions happening not only from Kaylin to warehouse, but Kaylin to warehouse, Kaylin to service, Kaylin to sales. Everyone's starting to get in the loop. The work that you're doing by supplying that evidence in pictures and descriptions and videos is finally starting to take root as everyone's starting to work together to develop solutions that will help. The ask is you take a clear picture and one of the labels on the case so that the warehouse partners can use those numbers that are on that label to pinpoint all the way down to what time it was loaded and who put it on that truck. That will allow them to do some more training with the folks that they have on the floor. Clear pictures, right? So at the end of the day, I know you might think it's clear if you send that in, and you might get a request from whoever it is you send it to. It's like, hey man, I'm sorry, man, can you get me a clearer picture? Without that set of numbers, our warehouse partners won't be able to be as helpful as we'd like them to be. You can continue to text those to the Team Soup phone, to the Team Soup, to one of the SCLs, to myself, or you can email them. There's Kaylin's email address right there. All she'll need is your name, the date that this happened to you in the subject line, so she can immediately know that it's a report, it's a concern that needs to report it to our warehouse partners. And with that, she can put that on that thread and generate the concern. um, uh, uh, um, Attach any pictures and a list of what's wrong with the load. She'll pull up the trip number, but if you got the trip number handy, put that in the email. It'll help make sure that we don't skip a beat in the reporting process. It is critical that we're reporting that on the day it's reported or no more than the day after. As you can imagine, and we go through it every day, if I'm reporting a warehouse loading concern from last week, I guarantee you we're not going to get anywhere with it because that was last week. And everyone, including ourselves, is focused on what's going on right now and what's going to happen over the next week if we're planning accordingly. So One of the biggest issues that that transportation or traffic or us, y'all are taking the blame on are Walmart orders that are commingled or we misdelivered the 10 cases of HEB product to the Walmart or vice versa. Um, everyone is quick to point the finger at us, the last one holding that cart for delivery. At the end of the day, there are several mitigating factors that a lot of you had already reported. If it's a GES run, obviously when you're dropping off, you want to double check that you're at the right account, count your cases per the SOP, make sure they're matching, leave your paperwork. If there are any carts with more than one customer on it, we need a picture of that. We need to generate the awareness. The question when we have a misdelivered cart of product to the store is, hey, what's this driver doing? What is going on here? When in fact, warehouse loaded two customers on one cart. This is why it's critical that you're confirming the store with the GES label, confirming case counts to minimize those occurrences from happening. If we're not set up from success from the start, it's going to make our jobs 10 times harder. The key is to make sure you're set up for success from the start. Um, we don't play the name game in transportation, the blame game. Our goal is to find a root cause, address the root cause to offer a streamlined customer service experience, right? For the consumer who ultimately buys that bag of chips out the door. DTS deliveries, we've said this since GES went live. I referenced 2012. I'll tell you what, this has been a key area of focus. Pick up your empties every time. If space it doesn't allow it because it's your first stop of the day and it's a two cart drop and a 20 empty cart pickup, call that in. Report the pickup need. If you don't feel you'll be able to turn back around, which it's unlikely you will at the end of a trip, let dispatch know, let the team soup know so that we can put that on a cart pickup store list and make sure that it gets picked up prior to it being reported by our customers as an issue. Many of our backdoor store locations are in zone restricted areas where either homeowners associations or some sort of city ordinance doesn't allow carts to be dropped off. You'll recognize those stores when they've got kind of a gate that has um, maybe some blinders around it so that you can't see what's in there, and that's where they'll typically store their empty pallets. All that is done because some city ordinance is out there, and it's directing those store locations to keep their area free and clear of clutter, right? So the importance on this goes a very long way. Now, I know that 100% of these cart pickup opportunities are not 100% driver related. I know there's a lot that of factors that go into that, but don't blatantly disregard the cart pickup and SOP. At the end of the day, we've got to pick up our carts when we can. And if you can't, for one reason or another, if the store receiver is there, let them know I'm going to call this in for pickup and then call us. Let us know. Text us so that we can put that store on the list. Trust me, our sales partners are not shy about reporting those issues for us to react against. And they have no idea of everything that we're up against. So we'll handle those conversations with them. What we need is for y'all to pick them up if you can pick them up. So hopefully 7 times out of 10, that's a pretty streamlined process of getting done. PEC deliveries, follow the proper down stacking SOP. This is other sales feedback that we're getting. At the end of the day, whether it's an EVAN or a straight frame, if you're at the Webster PEC or any of the, what I think it's 25 PECs we've got left, follow the down stacking SOP, please. If for any reason a sales team member is asking you to keep it up, don't downstack it. I know that happens out there. Please text the dispatch phone, the team soup phone, one of us, an SCL, myself. Let us know. You don't need a name. I just need the guy's route number. You can even give me your PEC location, what letter lane it is, and what route number it is, and it'll really help so that we can have follow up discussions with those sales leaders ourselves, and we can dispel the myth that we are refusing to downstack, and that we're doing everything that we can to accommodate everyone's needs. All right, let's see here. Cost. Okay, this one's a nice one. It's a big one. Andrew Eller, our performance SCL, has come in and done some really good things from a great place to work perspective. I'm very excited and anxious to see what comes next. Right. So far, we're working, and it's been a soundbite that we've been having and struggling to work against, partnering with headquarters, making sure that we're taking the right tractor with the right trip, or the asset that makes sense, the most sense. Even though all of our assets are rated to do any one of the trips designed for our traffic center, it shouldn't be an issue. But there are some valid wins by keeping CNGs local, for example. Um, so more work to be done on that as we progress through the year. Many of you who've walked closer to the offices, the back office where the team sit, have seen this green background. Andrew's working diligently to put a directory together, a photo book, a yearbook, so that everyone gets to know everyone. Everyone knows that we've got some this transportation center is a whole new set of faces over just a year ago, right? We've got new folks in different positions, and once we get this directory up and running, it'll be a big win for us to be able to recognize faces of those of you when you're coming in, and each other as you're interacting within the TC. So please take some time to go out there and have an SCL or Andrew take your picture in front of the green partition as we continue to build that yearbook through 2024. We've heard the cry to action on more swag, right? Hats and shirts and things of that nature. As we move into Summerline, you'll see a lot of more of those things coming your way to help ensure that you've got things out there that are keeping you PPE compliant and at the same time comfortable, right? So we'll be working on getting that done as well as we progress through the year. Big win from a cost perspective. If we're looking at our local carrier usage, we are saving over $325,000 in Q1 compared to last year. That equates to more work that's being done by you, by our company fleet drivers, where it should have been all along. There's some big learnings that we've had to go through that we're going to be working against in our next PNP session, a week after next. There's some questions that we need to get answered. The introduction of these utility bids that we've placed on both sides of the boards has helped us reach this goal and almost entirely fire the local carrier folks out there. God love them. Thank them for all the help that they were for us through the pandemic and things of that nature. The pandemic is gone. We want to retain our head count, our employee count, and we want them doing primarily the work that's coming out of our traffic center for our Houston Metro and Texas to Texas, and those 1 or 2 or maybe up to 3 day layover trips that you're seeing out there. Is it perfect now? No. Do we have a long way to go to get there? Absolutely. But this reduction in spend over prior year for just the first 3 periods of 2024 is a huge win. Now, Andrew's also done a phenomenal job of sending out a weekly newsletter, kind of highlighting just a short one pager. Hopefully, y'all are looking at that. If there are any recommendations of what you'd like to see on that weekly report, by all means, please let us know. At the end of the day, in our last newsletter this week, he mentioned a new operating system, if you will, that's going to be going into the Rosenberg site, and it's going to impact all of us. Pepsi Global template is coming out. PepsiCo Global Template, for short, PGT. We're going to have a plethora of people on site from the headquarters level on down all across the country to support this change this upcoming weekend. It's a huge change. So everyone needs to be aware that this is going to implement with the optimization that happens on Saturday night. With that, these upgrades take a long time. The plant will essentially shut down from noon on Friday till we start back up Saturday night for picking. With that, I think as a team, it's important we progress as a group with utmost caution. While we don't anticipate any huge delays or mix ups or any kind of issue, I think it's best we plan for huge delays, mix up, things like that. And that kind of helps define what Andrew had in his email. And we'll put more communication out as the over the next 2 or 3 days as we hear news. But bottom line for us, we'll have extra folks in the office on Saturday through Sunday going into the week. But at the end of the day, monitor your communications. Look at your DPS messages. If there are any delays, we may ask that you do not come in at your assigned awarded time since the loads will not be ready. Now, please remember, I am planning for the worst, but I'm expecting none of that to happen and for it to go business as usual. What I don't want is any of you to be caught by surprise. So please, if there are any questions on this, let us know. We will do our best to keep you posted of all the complexities that are going on. But first and foremost, any delays that you might experience or we as a department might experience due to this technology upgrade. All right. All right, from a network perspective, Alasia and Kirsten has done great work in increasing the number of extended layover runs, backhaul opportunities, things of that nature, swapping from common carrier to company fleet. A lot of behind the scenes work that goes into this with optimized solutions every day. But just to name a few, Tech Packaging South is in Florida. Additional four loads per year. They're more of a qual pack type place, right? Frankfurt East, additional 3 loads versus prior year. Increased Perry plant loads four times over last year. Jonesboro relays Monday through Friday in order to eliminate common carrier from that business altogether. A lot more to go out there and get. Then customer in Corpus used to for years be delivered by a common carrier or River Oaks, right? A third party company in our backyard. So let's take that back and give the work to each and every one of you and offer that opportunity. Amazon backhauls. There was a little bit of a pause on those backhauls for I think it was San Antonio and San Marcos, just based on some of our on time performance, but we're back in the game. It's almost every other day that I see a request. Hey, can you take more? Can you take more? That business is out there. There's a ton of business out there that we need to work towards going out there and grabbing from common carrier or and the like, right? At the end of the day, as I said, we want to continue building our traffic center, retaining our head count. Right now is a pretty sweet spot. We're in a good place right now. Business is about to uptick for the summer. It would be easy for us to go out there and grab a bunch of stuff, At the end of the day, we have got to be able to sustain our local business in order before we do that, so that we can determine how many new drivers we need to bring in and work with our fleet partners to determine how many new assets we need to bring in to make it a feasible solution for us to go out and expand even further. The business is out there. We still use an abundance of common carrier. You see their assets on our site every day of the week. It would be impossible for us to say, all of y'all go away. We need them. We need their partnership in order to sustain the business that we've got as an organization. So the work is there. Um, the planning that goes into it is maybe a little tougher than you might think, which oftentimes it may feel like there's not enough work. Well, sometimes the GES side of the business helps us determine what we need from a core perspective, what we can raise our hand to get from a core perspective. So it's a fine line. It's a fine balance that we're doing day in and day out. So a lot of improvement there for Q1. Opportunity areas, what can we do from a Venn perspective? Venn has been one of our Achilles heels, and I will go out on a limb and say, hey, this isn't an entire traffic problem. If I've got a trip with three Venn customers on it, and based on the emails that I'm seeing Kaylin send to warehouse from a Venn loading opportunity perspective, and based on the texts that I'm getting from from a lot of y'all out there servicing Venn customers, how are you going to hit each one of those three customers' appointment times if we're not set up for success from the start? Now, I know it's not a light switch approach from our core warehouse partners perspective. So, what creative ideas can we work against to help improve our on-time delivery and improve our customer service to our then customers? 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you this is not a transportation related reason or root cause for a miss with a Venn customer. Again, I'll say if we're not set up for success from the start, we're not going to get there. So, reevaluating our windows with receiving times and things of that nature is something that Kirsten and Alasia are working against. Baton Rouge backhauls. I think right now every one of our Baton Rouge team is trips are bringing KDs, right? What can we do to tie some more revenue into those trips versus just coming back empty with KDs? At the end of the day, the work is out there. It just needs to make logistical sense. And we've got to have the assets to do it. Um, from a Webster perspective, our delivery specialist will remain with us through 2024. I don't have any visibility on a calendar or a timeline that the same thing that we did in Texan will happen in Webster, but I do know that for 2024, Webster is going to remain as it is today. How do we maybe up that head count to take care of more of those smaller accounts and make it a lot easier and safer for our OTR drivers to deliver those Houston Metro locations that don't pose any kind of risk with those delivery specialists? How do we create and utilize those drivers to be more of a utility driver for last minute either hotshot requests or even redeliveries or even cart pickups where you were not able to pick up carts at a Sam's store because you only dropped off four full carts. It's your first store and you got 40 carts to pick up for whatever reason, right? So how do we unlock that to improve our customer service to that customer base in the Houston metro area while we still have the opportunity to do so? Revenue, I hit on it just a little while ago. Empty lanes to Austin, San Antonio, or from Austin, San Antonio, San Marcos. Come back with those Amazon packages, dropping those off in Katy, bringing back an empty from the last drop. That's all stuff we're getting paid to do, and in turn offering you the work to get paid for. So that's been a phenomenal success. And as we continue, those opportunities still exist out there. Partnering with Pepsi in Baytown. How do we work on tying those into GES runs? All kinds of creative ideas are being tossed around. Logistically is what we need to do. And when we're fully staffed in Webster, that should help open up that capacity in order to do more revenue in Baytown and things of that nature. So there's a lot of moving pieces. Unfortunately, there is no such thing as a light switch fix in Frito, as we all know. But if you look around you, you walk out the door. If you were here just 6 years ago, I mean, if you sit back and take the time to look, it's a wow factor. The building right in front of our TC or traffic center wasn't even there. Our lot was half the size or a third the size of what it is today. Did that happen overnight? No. Those plans they came to fruition years ago, and we're just now noticing those changes. So oftentimes when we're out there working, the thought process might be, well, things are never going to change. Well, I invite you to walk outside and let's just look around us and I can surely say that I disagree with that statement as our organization really has a good grasp on the direction that we want to head. All right, so from an org health survey, if you can remember, tail end of every year, we're out there asking for support and in filling out the survey, making it as easy and streamlined as possible. And the reason we do that is because without your feedback, we don't know what areas that we need to tackle or focus on, right? We need you to tell us where we need to get better. Voicing your opinions fearlessly is a true request. We want you to let us know where we can get better. Many of you are really good at one-on-one conversations, and please continue that. I welcome it. Come on into my office. And every time each of you do, no matter how upset or passionate you might be about something, you show me respect and you say, "Is this a good time?" Yes. You shut the door and then you let it out. And I invite you to let it out in a business professional manner, right? At the end of the day, I understand where you're coming from, right? I understand what it's like to work 12 hours in the heat all day, every day for, 15 years, right? At the end of the day, it's not an easy task, and we want to listen to what it is that is out there that's getting in your way so that we can help fix it. So if you're looking at our results for 2023, we had a planned participants of 161 drivers, or all in for our department, and the number of people responding to the survey was 134. From the leadership level, we had 19 of those, and then from the frontline level, we had 115, which gave us a response rate of 83%. So heads up, in August, September, we'll be doing the same thing. This is an anonymous survey. A third party takes those answers and spits out the report that I'm fixing to show you today, so that myself and the leadership team, the SCLs, all the way to the headquarters transportation team can come together and say, hey, this is where I need help because this is where my people need help. And this is what we need to do to help them, right? So without your feedback, it makes it really, really hard for us to get where we want to be to truly make this a great place to work. It's not just a tagline. We are listening and doing everything we can to make it better. And hopefully, y'all are aware that that's what we're working towards. So from our 2023 survey results, that we've got a lot of yellow in here that I'd love to turn green for 2024, our next survey, right? So at the end of the day, if I'm comparing this for 2022, we've made improvements. We've made substantial improvements. But with the third party that we use to calculate all the answers and things of that nature, they will spit out recommendations on buckets and priorities that we need to satisfy. And our top three priorities there, which was our weakest links, if you will, for lack of a better term, are here on the next slide. So if we look at it, my company, my manager, and my manager, the priority item listed. So how satisfied are you with the recognition you receive for doing a good job? 58%. My manager fosters a trust-based work group climate. 60%. My manager works with the team to ensure that there are clear expectations for how we should work with one another to be effective. 60%. We want to get all these in the green, right? So what can we do to get there? So these are just some ideas that we're going to focus on for 2024 as we continue through the year. So I think it's important. Recognition is important. The jobs you do out there are important. Without you, the company wouldn't be as successful as it is today. So how do we update our current quarterly incentive metrics that highlight accomplishments as a team for every quarter? The quarterly incentives that you each get for hitting the metrics that we're asking you to hit, how do we make those a little bit more achievable? How do we increase the incentive? Things of that nature. Why do we have to wait until a quarter ends for us to give that sort of recognition? And what can we do to update the cadence so that you are aware that we understand that without you, we would not be where we are today? Bottom line, you're the backbone of the organization, as is transportation. But the work each and every one of you does is not just to close out a trip, it's to improve the results of PepsiCo, of Frito-Lay. It's a huge part. Every little aspect of every trip you do, from cart pickup to a redelivery to misdelivered that you needed to take care of, it is worth a lot to the organization, and we need to recognize each and every one of you on the streets and in the office for the work that you're doing. How do we add that type of recognition to the weekly newsletter letter that Andrew's putting out? To include an executional excellence column, highlighting the efforts that a Walmart reached out to me about to say thanks. I don't know the driver's name, but he was here on Friday at 8 p.m. and he did this or she did that. At the end of the day, how do we recognize that driver in front of the entire team for those types of things, right? It's those little things that really go a long way. And oftentimes we are way too focused on what is not going right. How do we flip that score? How do we flip that mentality? I want to hear more positive things than all the negative ones. I know I touched on it in our safety presentation there, but there's a lot that we're working against from a disciplinary perspective that we need to address. Yes, right. But how do I recognize more drivers? Not just every quarter, every period, not just every period, every week, not every week, every day. What can we do to make sure that you each are aware of the piece of the puzzle that you are a part of? My manager fosters a trust-based work group climate, 60%, right? So how do we highlight Team Suits as the one-stop shop, right? We kind of started this a little last year so that you wouldn't be walking into the traffic center and wondering, well, who should I report this to? Is this a Kaylin or is this an Malaysia? Or do I go straight to Sandy? Now wait a minute, I think this is payroll, so I need to go Carmen. No, 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 no. Our intent is not to keep you from talking to everyone. We all have open door policies and we all want to hear feedback, but to make it quick and easy, talk to your team suit, right? Regardless of what shift, even though each one of you reports to a different team suit, we want to make sure that that message is being spread. And when a team soup receives a report, they report that out to the team on one of our daily meetings. And that's how we're able to gain better alignment to have full transparency in the way things are done. to eliminate, well, if you go to this team soup, he's not going to do it, but this team soup might, things of that nature, right? We need to all be on the same page for consistency and accountability and fairness from driver to driver every day. Um, and through that, they'll generate those reports to review the reported concerns as a team, so that discipline is aligned between each one of us, regardless of what day or what shift you're receiving any kind of feedback after reporting something. And by gathering your feedback, we can all group our heads together to figure out, hey, what do we need to do to show improvements. Kaylin and her driver advocate team are a huge piece of this as you continue to make those reports to one individual or in the team soups. I'm telling you, those things are making a difference. We're talking about things as a group, rather than individuals making individual decisions that don't get shared and make it really difficult to have consistency within the department. So my manager works with the team to ensure that there are clear expectations for how we should work with one another to be effective. Myself, I'm holding more team meetings with my supply chain leader personnel, so that we can discuss the hot topics that we're seeing out there through each and every executional day, whether it's awarding, whether it's optimization, whether it's on-time delivery, out of route miles, things of that nature. Um, we've got to review those as a team so that we're all on the same page, and that way we can develop clear expectations that are aligned, not different from shift to shift or day to day. And then we could use those ideas for a quarterly leadership meeting for us to outline how do we implement a new process. Uh, uh, Getting hot and heavy with our policy and procedures team, which has been a tough one with all the personnel changes that we've got. We've finally got folks in place that we'll be able to make that a consistent thing to move forward with. Um, so a lot of good stuff that's going to be helping us close out some of these priority items so that we can see improved results, not just on a scorecard, but for you, offering a better work-life experience as you're coming to work each and every day. All right, so those are our org health results for 2023. I'll tell you what, it'll seem like it's tomorrow when we start asking for support in getting your feedback for this year, right? So as we continue to learn and grow and change in the market and things of that nature, positive improvements will take place. I'll say it again. There's not, we wouldn't be as successful from our results perspective in just Q1 without the work that each and every one of you do out there in the field. That is what is the definition of our success. So I applaud you for everything that you're doing out there every day to support the final transaction, the final sale of that customer that allows the organization to sustain its position in the snack food industry. So really, it's all about you, and we're here to help you be as successful as you possibly can. Your patience on those tough days. I appreciate every one of y'all's patience. There's no such thing as an easy job at Frito, whether you're out there doing an empty cart pickup or out there doing a PEC unload. The work is difficult. We're not blind to that, and I thank you for all that you do day in and day out. This go around, this quarter, as we rolled into 2024, there's a huge focus on cost and spend. And as I mentioned on our safety portion, there's a huge focus on spend from not spend, but hours of service, right? So we recognize that if we have a QBR at the main event or at Top Golf, you're getting paid those hours. We need to make sure that we are including those hours in awarded solutions that we're having the next day and the next week. As such, meeting for a full day or 6 or 7 hours on a Saturday in the middle of your what is should be your reset for the week poses a lot of risk. So I made a last minute decision to go through a Zoom call like this. Tomorrow, you'll see myself and some of the SCLs and the team soup periodically set up outside. Hopefully, this is a little late going out. I didn't expect it to go out so late. Hopefully, y'all had the time to listen to this, but we'll be sitting outside answering any questions that you might have after you review the presentation. I'll put a PDF in the email for you to review and some words in the body of an email here shortly. But come on by, stop and visit us so that we can answer any questions or any concerns or any peeks under the tent that we might have. Please feel free to stop by and ask us. We'll have a food truck out there periodically throughout the day, so we'll serve some food for everyone. Right at the end of the day, I appreciate everyone's time, or at least the hopefully you were able to sit through this whole thing, and I appreciate everything that you do out there. And I ask that you please be safe, so that we can have another great successful quarter in Q2. Thanks so much for all you do. I appreciate you. Bye.